YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review, I'm looking at the latest release from Wave 3 of the Toys R Us exclusive Dr. Dalek 2-packs. This is the final wave of the 2-packs, and I'm going to be looking at the First Doctor and Supreme Dalek from the Daleks Masterplan. So is this set one to look out for? Well, let's take a look. The figures come displayed in a window box that featured the classic series Doctor Who design. The sides of the packaging features various publicity images of the First Doctor, and the back of the box features two more publicity images, as well as a biography about the First Doctor and the Daleks. The inside of the packaging includes a nice image of the alien delegates meeting room from the Daleks Masterplan. Now, the First Doctor in this set is a straight re-release of the original First Doctor that we saw released as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive way back in, 2009, something like that. And I'll be honest, I was really quite surprised to see this version. I expected it to be the Three Doctors version, because the exclusive element to this version of the First Doctor. I can only assume that the exclusivity agreement for this figure with Underground Toys has now passed. So if you haven't got that original First Doctor, then this set is probably going to be very beneficial to you. Articulation, it's the standard thing. The head can turn, can't really do a 360, I guess you could force it. Articulation at the shoulders, which do 360s. Articulation at the biceps, which do 360s. Elbow articulation. Articulation at the wrists, which also do 360s. Articulation at the waist. He has a T-crotch joint, so the legs can move forward and they can move out to the sides. He has articulation at the thighs, which can also do 360 degrees. And articulation at the knees, so that they can go back and forth. So it is just a standard re-release. However, one thing that is worth noting is the head, which has been improved from the original release. No changes to the sculpture or anything, it's just the paint apps seem much better and a lot crisper on this version than on the original version. Obviously, if you own any version of the First Doctor, you'll know that the likeness is excellent, and because of the improved paint applications, it looks even better. And here are the two figures side by side. You probably can't see the difference too much on camera, but it is more noticeable in hand. I also think that the hair seems slightly darker on the original release than it does on this new release. But one of the things that I can definitely see is that the softness on the sculpt is more evident on the original release, and that it's a bit crisper on this newer version. The paint application around the eyes is also less severe on this newer version, which makes it look far more natural. Compared to the original release has quite red eyes and they're quite dark, but it just seems that this new version is a bit more natural. So if you haven't got the original First Doctor, which is obviously in his costume that he wears throughout most of his tenure, then this is definitely a set worth picking up. Now, one thing that is worth mentioning is the fact that this version of the First Doctor does not include his cane. I'm not quite sure why, probably a costing issue like it was with the Seventh Doctor. The First Doctor didn't always have his walking stick. Obviously, he didn't have it in the first few episodes because he didn't get it until Marco Polo. And I'm sure towards the end of his tenure, it did sort of fade out. So to be totally honest, I'm not even sure if he actually used it in the Dalek Masterplan. So if that is the case, I haven't checked, then yeah, it's not really an issue. One thing that I personally would have liked, obviously for someone like me, who already has the original release of the First Doctor, but what I really would have liked to have seen would have been the trousers repainted, so that he was wearing his darker trousers with the smaller squares. I think that's what he wears in the Daleks Masterplan, but these sets aren't actually meant to be specifically from those stories. In some cases, the Doctor isn't from that story. I think that would have been the only thing that they could have done to make this figure more desirable. But for those of you who don't own this version of the First Doctor, it's definitely worth checking out. Now, what does make this set desirable is the Supreme Dalek. This has been a Dalek variant that we've been waiting for quite some time, so it's great to finally have it in our hands. The articulation, is standard. 360 degree head. The eye stalk goes up and down. The plunger and the gun arm are ball jointed. And of course, he is on 3 wheels. But this is great because it's a really, really nice colour scheme. I've always been a big fan of the black Dalek from the Chase and the Daleks Masterplan, as the box refers to it, so it is a very nice variant to finally have. All of the paint applications are very nice and crisp. The paintwork on the grating and the solar slats are also really nicely done, with the grey underneath between all the little holes so that it matches up with the rest of the shoulder section underneath. My Dalek does have one slight issue though, and that's his eye. It's, well, it doesn't go straight, it's always looking down. Not too much of a problem, you know, bit of blue tack under there, that will sort it out. Obviously you can't fix these like you used to be able to fix them because the eyes are now fixed into place with a metal or a plastic rod. So I might try and, I don't know, open him up and see if I can fix it, but to be honest, I don't know if it's really worth the messing around. Once it goes so far, it stays up fine. But for some reason it's just slightly looking down. Not a major issue, it's not like the eye stalks are bent or anything, which is really nice to see, because with the past figures that I reviewed, the 5th Doctor and the 7th Doctor, both eye stalks were bent, but it's good to see that that isn't an issue here. One thing that is worth mentioning is the colour of the hemispheres on this Dalek. They're actually the darker blue that we see on the Troughton Daleks, as opposed to the more lighter baby blue that we see on the early Hartnell Daleks. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be that way, but to be totally honest, it doesn't really bother me, and you really have to scrutinise it to see the difference. So overall, I do really like this set. The Dalek is lovely, you know, I really am pleased that we've got this 60s Dalek. The black, the blue and the silver, it does look really, really nice, and I've always been a fan of it, even when we can only see it in black and white, and it's really nice to be able to have it in toy form, in full colour. Like I said, the first Doctor, you know, it's nice to have him again. Obviously, I personally would have preferred if it had been slightly tweaked, and, you know, if you're someone who wasn't able to get the original San Diego Comic-Con release, this is definitely a set worth getting, because you get that figure and you get an entirely new Dalek as well. So I really do recommend checking this one out, but if you're not fussed about this Dalek and you've already got the first Doctor, well then this may be worth a miss. This particular 2-pack is available on the Toys R Us website, and they have also just started to appear in stores and can be purchased for £20. Thank you for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my upcoming review, which will be the 4th Doctor and Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks, the second in the Wave 3 release of Toys R Us Doctor Dalek 2-pack exclusives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.